Good morning, my name is Christopher Charlton. It's Friday the 2nd of April, here to give you the weekly review of the markets. With all the worries about the fiscal positions of the club-led countries, Angela Merkel's visit to Turkey this week opened up a rather controversial point, that of the pending sale of 4 German submarines to Greece. The rivalry between Greece and Turkey forces both countries to run an arms race that is out of proportion to the immediate danger of confrontation. Greece spends the highest proportion of GDP on defence in the EU, approximately 2.8%, and the average is around 1.7%. In 2010, they plan a budget of around $6 billion on arms. Turkey's chief negotiator with the EU stated that Greece does not need new tanks and submarines, nor does Turkey. So whilst France and Germany insist that Greece implements a severe austerity package and drastically cuts fiscal spending, at the same time they encourage both Greece and Turkey to buy their arms. Greece has a long-standing contract to buy 4 German submarines. How many do they actually need? I believe they have about 4, so there's about 8. Turkey has about 20. You look at the Aegean Sea, and if you add on a couple of American, Russian, and maybe even a Chinese submarine, you've probably got more submarines than dolphins. The chances that they're bumping into each other is probably higher than actually that they intentionally fire upon each other. So, that said, what the EU really needs is to integrate Turkey more fully, either as a full member or on a special case scenario. That would reduce the tensions between the two countries. As well as that, the EU must move towards having a common defence force with a common defence policy. In the meantime, Greece is a border country of the EU with a coastal line, so it does need a navy. The question is, or one could ask, where are the dangers actually lurking? This happy bunch of chaps were arrested by the FBI this week. They're a part of a Christian militant group based in Michigan called the Qatari, I presume that's how you pronounce it. And they were indicted on sedition and weapon charges in connection with an alleged plot to kill a policeman. Basically, they wanted to murder a policeman and then plant roadside bombs on the funeral procession to create, with the hope of inciting an anti-government insurrection. It views the police as foot soldiers of the federal government, which is a member of a new world order which includes 10 countries of the European Union. This order is viewed as a satanic final empire. And Javier Solana, the EU foreign minister, is regarded as the Antichrist. I'm not sure why he has earned such a distinction, but that is the case. Whatever, it seems that Diego Maradona's dog also mistakenly took Diego as being the Antichrist this week. So tried to bite half of Diego's face off. Luckily didn't succeed, and although he's going to have plastic surgery, but he should be fit for the World Cup. I think one of the most important things this week was the successful experiments at CERN in Geneva. If you are watching this video, then we can assume it was successful. Otherwise, neither you, I, or half of Europe would be around to tell the tale. So, let's go on to the markets. This week, in the middle of the week, we had the end of the month and also the end of the quarter. It was estimated that the positioning, long dollar positioning, especially against the euro and against the pound, were pretty much all-time highs. So we saw a lot of covering of those positions towards the month end, and you can see here in the euro dollar we moved from a high of 138, we moved down to 132 in the week, and then retraced back up to about 135.5. Retracement in the pound was even more severe. We practically retraced the whole move from 154 down to 148 and ended up at about 152.5 on the close. We view these moves as corrective, and therefore term view for the euro dollar maintains the same, that once this period of correction is over, we'll continue to move down towards 130. The same for the pound. We could move potentially up towards 154 in this move, but after that we should continue to move down to 140. Of course, we've got the UK elections ahead of us. There's going to be a lot of volatility coming in there, but whichever government wins, one tool, especially what the Eurosceptics keep going on about, which is the advantage that they can devalue. Certainly they're going to be using that tool in the future. It is correct that the pound has already fallen about 30% against the dollar, so a lot of the news is already in the price, but we believe that the reasoning or rationale to buy the pound is not there, and therefore we continue our view towards 140. I think it's important to look at, which was happening this week, and we'll be tracking that in the coming weeks, is the US long-term rates edging higher. Closed around 3.85 is the yield on the 10-year note. About 2 weeks ago we were looking at this and said that we expected to move up towards 4.2. I think that's going to come. We were looking at the correlation between the movement of long-term US rates and the yen. Here you can see this is over a year, the correlation. Maybe here it's a little bit better. You can see in a shorter time the movement in dollar yen and the movement of US interest rates is pretty strongly correlated. So for the dollar yen, and we've seen here now a move up in dollar yen, it's started to move higher, nearly up to 94 this week. It's actually broken out of its long-term down channel here, we can see. With US rates now tentatively moving higher, maybe this is the beginning of quite a major trend against the yen. We'll look at that more in our monthly report, our written report, but we'll be tracking that in the next couple of weeks. So, in the meantime, wish you a very nice Easter, and that's it for now. Thank you. Bye-bye.